grandchildren needed to be included. You read this, and you read Bloody Thursday, you'll see why we got married. Because we moved into a haunted house together. That was crazy. Here we go. Are you serious? Okay. We're gonna watch it. Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can do something a little faster than that.
All right, well, I'll brief you guys about it before we watch it while she's getting that together.
Thank you, baby.
Digital patience. We all have to have it. Some of us have very good digital patience. Some of us don't.
I know.
I'm one of those that I'm learning. So this is about a home that we moved into.
Some sort of curse on this house? Never go in with this. Only this one said not. Only on sci-fi.
A lot of people don't know this, but YouTube has a new royalty.
So there's a little commercial about it. So my family and I, we all moved into this home, and my stepfather, he was a pastor. He was studying going to school for seminary to be further his pastoral career. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but so he was in school a lot. He was studying a lot. I was the next oldest. My brother was away in the military. He was serving during the Gulf War, and so I kind of had to take up the reins and do the things that needed to be done around the house, stuff like that. I had 9 brothers and sisters, so it was a lot to be done. So it was a big family. I was the second oldest, so it was a tremendous amount of stuff that had to be done. So we moved in this place. We finally found a place that was big enough, big old, like a plantation home out in the middle of the country, and it was like heaven. It was a dairy across the street that I could get a job and work at, and walking distance. So I was able to get in there, and as we moved in this house, we started getting the family that was there that was leaving little hints about how dangerous this place was. And they dropped a couple bombs on us as we were leaving, little information bombs for us. And it turned out to be one of the most violently haunted experiences I've ever been involved in. And I've been involved, we've had over 1,000 cases. We've had cases that were negative. They're very few and far between. We've had even some what people would call demonic cases. I count those on one hand. They're very, very, very rare. Usually that is someone created that problem for themselves. If somebody's going through that, usually it's either somebody created it or somebody created it and got away from it and left it for somebody else to deal with.
That's a big part of that.
Big part of that. So, moved in this home, and right away, the family members that were there that were leaving, when we showed up to move in, the day we were moving in, the other people hadn't completely moved out. So we were kind of helping them move out. I was excited about having a new place. I was going to have my own bedroom, which was a big deal when you got 9 brothers and sisters. And when you're a 15-year-old boy, it's kind of a big deal too. So, ended up was helping these people move out, and there was a door that was locked on the house, had a padlock on it, and just didn't make any sense. You could see the windows that there was, it was a fully, could be a functional room, and then you could see furniture inside the room. And I asked them about it. I said, hey, what about this room here? You got to get everything out? And lady turned around and looked at me, and she said, please leave that door locked. My brother killed himself in there, and for him, please leave that door locked. And I'm like, what? You didn't go in the door? What's in there? Is he still in there? What's going on? There's a whole lot of things going through a 15-year-old boy's head, what am I going to go in there and find? Well, the show kind of makes it out like we waited a couple days. But as soon as they left, one of my buddies was there, and we opened that thing up. And little did we know we were opening up Pandora's box. You know, there was 2 places in that house that we were told to never go in, never open. And of course, being curious as we were, we opened them up and we went in, and then the whole world broke loose. So, has anybody here had any experiences like that, where you had a haunting, you had something that you just couldn't explain? Right. If you want to talk about it, you can. If you don't want to talk about it, we'll be here afterwards.
We're available afterwards.
So we do teach actually 5 classes now at Piedmont Tech. All right. The very first one is Ghost Hunting 101. All right. It's a very good class for you to be in. If you've had anything paranormal happen, if you're curious about the paranormal, it's a very good class for you to go to, because you're going to not only learn all about the equipment, which you can see some of the equipment up here on the table. You'll learn about all the equipment, the terminologies, and the things like that, the types of hauntings, but we go out and we actually investigate. And some of the places we investigate, I'm going to say almost all of them, never really, it's very rare that you go to a place and you do a paranormal research investigation and you don't find something. And a little hint, if you're not finding something, you're probably the one that's doing something wrong. There's stuff all around us. There's spirits all around us that want to communicate. All right. So Ghost Hunting 101 is a very good class. It's kind of a starter class that helps you for the next classes that are coming along. And then of course we have Ghost Hunting 102. Ghost Hunting 102, you're going to do a lot more investigating. You're going to be teams. You're going to be sectioned up into teams. You're going to be doing. Some of your teams will have different roles in those investigations, and that's where we basically push you in the right direction, and we step back and we allow the students then to do the investigations, to lead the investigations. We've had a lot of people that have come and taken these classes that have actually started their own paranormal research teams and have done really well and been really successful with that. It's a very good class to do. Again, if you're just curious, and you want to find out about it, it's a good class to be involved in. Then the next class we got, which is probably one of my favorite, is Parapsychology 101. All right, so Parapsychology 101, by the time you get to that, you've done Ghost Hunting 101 or 102. We can make some waivers to allow you in if you've only done one of them. So you already know things go bump in the night. All right, now you're finding out why things go bump in the night and why those things that are going bump in the night are trying to get your attention. And then the proper way to interact with them so they can communicate what they need to communicate, and you can communicate or set your boundaries of what you want to communicate. And, it takes you, it's that next level. There's a couple students that are here that have done that class. It takes you to that next level of paranormal research. And any hunters in the class? Anybody that's a hunter in here or a fisherman? All right. So when you do that, when you've done that, right? So once you train yourself to be a hunter or a fisher, right? You start spotting places where things are at, right? I know there's a deer there. I know there's a duck there or a quail there, whatever you're hunting, right? And then you start looking in those places, right? You're attuned to it now because you've trained yourself how to do this task, right?
And I'm hitting the button.
Okay.
I'm going to try to hit the button.
If it starts, I'll stop. How about that? So then the next one is your psychic journey. Okay, this is a really good class because this class opens you up and teaches you to recognize the things that you were born with. Right. So as humans, we're the only species on this planet. We're the only even in the animal kingdom, we're the only thing on this planet that ignores our God-given rights. Okay? Our gifts that were given to us from birth, we train ourselves to ignore them. Okay? How many people in here think they have some psychic ability? All right?
Or
So,
have had psychic moments.
Have had psychic moments.
That's a great
Right.
one too. I mean, I've
Okay.
heard of mothers that have heard their children cry from cross town. You know,
So,
little things like that.
would it surprise you if I told you that everybody's hand in this room should have gone up?
What?
Yeah. Everybody's hand in this room should have gone up with that. So, we live in the South. How many of you have been driving down the road and said, I need to slow down, there's something around this curve, it's probably a deer. You turn around the curve and there's a deer. Alright? Is that instinct? Right? That's that question that you're going to ask in this class. Is it something that's given into you to understand the environment that
It's
you're in?
playing.
Alright? So we have a tendency to only use our gifts when we're in a life-threatening situation.
I'll let this play. Old Southern homes, there's so much more to them than just a house.
There was a tension, like somebody was watching.
Dude, this house contains secrets.
What Pandora did they just unleash?
There was something in this house, and it was trying to kill me.
Y'all be careful in this house. It's full of death.
1991 had been a tough year for our family. My stepfather was in insurance sales, but work had dried up, and it dried up very quickly.
I felt that I needed to look beyond what I've been doing. I decided to stay to be a preacher and to go to seminary.
I was very supportive of his decision, but I knew it wouldn't be easy.
We had to take a cut in pay, and we needed to relocate.
I didn't really want to move. I was going to have to go to a new school. Being uprooted as a teenager is a painful thing sometimes.
We pulled into the driveway, and it was really gorgeous. An old southern farmhouse
Some of this
from
you've
like
already.
the 1750s with the wraparound porch and the rocking chairs.
It had been let go down by the family that owned it. So it was in our budget to rent was cheap.
Welcome to paradise.
The realtor met us there when we pulled up.
Come on, everybody.
To our surprise, the previous tenants were still there. They were in the process of moving out, but they weren't finished.
Come on, come on, come on.
Couldn't get it out of my mind that there was a reason for this house to be cheap.